Technology has covered almost all. From dusk to dawn, we are engaged digitally. Technology has covered almost all facets of today's world. From dusk to dawn, we are engaged digitally. From smartphones at home to meet all our daily needs, to make a fund transfer, to ordering a refill of groceries. Everything is just a click away. A typical day at the workplace involves dealing with connecting to internet servers. A relaxed weekend at dine-in will involve the attendees taking customers' order through a tablet. The customer paying the bill through a credit/debit card. All these transactions involve accessing the internet. Hence it becomes important that everyone is aware of the risks involved in using digital data and its protection. Online applications these days can be accessed through desktops. These applications are highly interconnected. Their ease of access makes them vulnerable. For instance, he can transfer funds online For instance, using the same cell phone, a user can update his status on a social media website. He can transfer funds online the next minute. He or she might also use the same cell phone to access their personal identification details from the government database. To top it all, he or she might use the same email account for registering in various banking, social networking applications, etc. A weak password to this account is a temptation for hackers. By gaining access to this email account, they might be able to access other applications linked with this account. Also, a spam mail can be sent through this account to lure a user to disclose confidential information that might help the attacker to intrude into his/her banking application. A vulnerable email account can make other applications vulnerable too. What is security? There is no such thing as absolute security. The quality or state of being secure. Cybersecurity is the protection of internet-connected systems, including hardware, software, and data from cyber attacks. Confidentiality - restrict access to authorized individuals. Integrity - data has not been altered in an unauthorized manner. Availability - information can be accessed and modified by authorized individuals. It should be need-to-know basis for data access. How do we know who needs what data? Approach - access control specifies who can access what. How do we know a user is a person she claims to be? Need her identity and need to verify this identity. Approach - identification and authentication. Ensuring authorized access to information assets when required. Information only has value if the right people can access it at the right times. We can say that an asset, resource, is available if timely request response. Fair allocation of resources, no starvation. Fault tolerant, no total breakdown. Easy to use in an intended way. Provides controlled concurrency, concurrency control, deadlock control. Data integrity - primarily concerned with the accidental damage of data. Prevention of unauthorized modification of information assets. Integrity deals with preventing, or at least detecting, unauthorized writing. Integrity versus confidentiality. Concerned with unauthorized modification of assets, equals resources. Confidentiality, concerned with access to assets. The thumb rule CIA triad. Protect, confidentiality. Preserve, integrity. Promote, availability. A customer wants to update his contact number on a website. He clicks on the option provided on the website and receives an email to update his details. However, This email was modified during transit by an unknown source and 2 more personal data fields got added in the form to be filled up. Businesses are increasingly leveraging new technologies such as mobile and cloud to enable strategic initiatives and facilitate innovation. Although these initiatives provide many business benefits, the new evolving technology landscape can also introduce substantial security risks that threaten sensitive corporate information. The security triad: confidentiality, integrity, availability.
Do you know why you would require cybersecurity? Today, the online mode of operation is so embedded in our societal structure that we have no realization of how much we depend on it. The social media dependence to express our opinion, conference calls for business or with friends, online shopping and transactions we indulge in to follow the latest trends, all require the internet, and in that, everything is open for all, meaning all your important data account details, personal chats, and pictures can be stolen and used against your will. Data can not only be stolen and misused, it can be corrupted for personal gains. This is where cybersecurity comes in to prevent and secure computer systems and public data from thefts, damage, and disruptions. A system of defense was set up using encryption to safeguard personal data and its use. A triad was formed having all 3 important pillars of cybersecurity called the CIA. That is, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality stands for authorized access to personal information, whereas integrity means rooting for protection of uncorrupted, genuine information. And availability throws light upon prevention and protection from denial of service attack.
Who has access? Are sensitive documents secured? Are server and network area secure? Racks and unmanaged cables. OpenSwitch. Physical security is the protection of personnel, hardware, software, networks, and data from physical actions and events that could cause serious loss or damage to an enterprise, agency, or institution. What is malware? Malicious computer executable. A bit flexible definition: annoying software or program codes. Running code without a user's consent. Reasons for the increase: growing number and connectivity of computers. Everybody is connected and dependent on computers. The number of attacks increases. Attacks can be launched easily, automated attacks. Growing system complexity. Unsafe programming languages. Hiding code is easy. Verification and validation are impossible. Systems are easily extensible. Mobile code, dynamically loadable modules. Incremental evolution of systems. Types of malware. Viruses and worms. Spyware and adware. Bots, Trojans, and keylogger. Backdoors and DOS attacks. Virus and worms. Worms are the oldest ones. It used a BSD Unix flaw to propagate itself. Viruses require hosts. For example, Word document, etc. Both can spread through email. Melissa virus uses address books of the infected. This oldest form of malware is dying out. Growth of the internet helped spawn, largely fueled by the prospect of monetary gain. It does not spread like viruses. Instead, it is packaged with user-installed software, mostly peer-to-peer programs. Least virulent forms cause sluggish systems, slow web browsing, annoying pop-ups. More dangerous spyware tracks browsing habits or sensitive information. Bots makers infect multiple systems. It creates massive botnets that can be used to launch a distributed denial-of-service attacks. The Trojan is a way to secretly install a piece of malware on a system. It could be an adware or a keylogger. It sneaks onto a system and delivers an unexpected and potentially devastating payload. The infected program will first run the virus code when invoked. If the infection phase is fast, then it will be unrecognizable. The infected version of a program is longer than the normal. A virus can compress the infected program to make its versions identical lengths. It is another type of proper-looking software but performs another action such as viruses. It is usually encoded in a hidden payload. Used in the installation of backdoors. It does not propagate itself by self-replication. Derived from the classical story of Trojan horse. Ransomware is a kind of malicious code that targets the victim's data by blocking access to the data. In order to get the data unblocked, the victim might have to pay ransom to the attackers. Simple ransomware may include locking the system. Advanced ransomware uses cryptography techniques to block data access. For example, WannaCry, etc. Spamming. Abuse of electronic messaging systems. It is done to indiscriminately send unsolicited bulk messages. It remains economically viable. Advertisers have no operating cost beyond the management of their mailing lists. Difficult to hold senders accountable for their mass mailings. Spam junk email. Spam has come to instant messaging. Uncontrolled viewing, pop-up windows. Spam is bot-generated. DDoS attacks make computer systems inaccessible. Achieved by flooding servers, networks, and end-user computers. In a DDoS attack, a large number of compromised hosts are amassed. If an attack comes from a single machine, it is referred to as a DOS. An attacker can implant zombie software. Master and slave zombies. Attacker coordinates master zombies. They trigger slave zombies. Note: why are two-level zombies needed? It makes more difficult to trace the attack back to its source. An application error occurs when more data is sent to a buffer than it can handle. When the buffer overflows, the attacker can make the target system execute instructions. The attacker can take advantage of some other unintended consequence of the failure. Usually, the attacker fills the overflow buffer with an executable program code. This elevates the attacker's permission to that of an administrator. It works by exploring the contents of a web browser's cache. As many sites store the user credentials in the cache, it can allow the collection of information on access to password-protected sites. Another attack by the same name involves attempting to intercept cryptographic elements to determine keys and encryption algorithms. It is a type of DOS attack. The attacker creates an ICMP packet that is larger than the maximum allowed 65,535 bytes. It is reassembled at its destination. Destination user cannot handle the reassembled oversized packet, thereby causing the system to crash or freeze. Spoofing. This technique used to gain unauthorized access. The intruder sends messages to a computer with an IP address. It indicates that the message is coming from a trusted host. Man in the middle. An attacker sniffs packets from the network, modifies them, and inserts them back into the net. So at the destination, the user receives the altered packet. Integrity is violated here. Sniffers. A program and/or device that can monitor data traveling over a network. Sniffers can be used both for legitimate network management functions and for stealing information from a network. Social engineering. Within the context of information security, the process of using social skills to convince people to reveal access credentials or other valuable information to the attacker.
Here we will try and understand the various topics of physical security, data theft, and malware. Physical security is the protection of personnel, hardware, software, networks, and data from physical actions and events that could cause serious loss or damage to an enterprise and individuals. It helps to restrict access and keeps track of security breaches. On the other hand, data theft is the act of stealing digital information stored on computers, servers, or of an unknown victim with the intent to compromise privacy or obtain confidential information. Therefore, we have to keep an eye on all the different types of malware. Like the viruses, which are programs that replicate themselves by modifying existing programs. Then we have spywares, which are responsible for infiltrating your computing device, stealing your internet usage data, and sensitive information. We also have bots and Trojan viruses. Bad bots, short for robots, perform malicious tasks that allow an attacker to remotely take control over an affected computer, whereas Trojan horse, or Trojan, is any malware which misleads users of its true intent. Ransomware threatens to publish the victim's data or perpetually block access to it unless a ransom is paid. And finally, spamming is the use of messaging systems to send an unsolicited message that is spam to large numbers of recipients for fraudulent purposes of getting access to customer information.
Have you ever touched someone's phone without permission? Have you ever clicked someone's photograph without their consent? Well, If yes, you are a cybercriminal. 66C of IT Act deals with the violation of privacy. This chapter will read about some such IT acts and cyber laws. Let's get started. Need for cyber laws and IT. Tackling cyber crimes. To provide legal recognition for transactions. To facilitate the electronic filing of documents with the government agencies and e-payments. IT Act provisions. Email would now be a valid and legal form of communication in our country. It can be duly produced and approved in a court of law. Companies shall now be able to carry out electronic commerce. It can be done using the legal infrastructure provided by the Act. Digital signatures have been given legal validity and the Act now allows the government to issue notification on the web as heralded, a statutory remedy in case if anyone breaks into companies' computer systems or network and causes damages or copies data. Types of cybercrime. Cybercrimes against persons, e.g. Melissa and Lovebug virus. Cybercrimes against property, e.g. computer vandalism. Cybercrimes against government, e.g. Al-Qaeda. Forgery. A forgery is a criminal act. It takes place when a person falsifies something with the intent to deceive another person or entity. Counterfeiting. Counterfeiting crimes include various activities involving the production of fakes that are, for example, someone knowingly selling cheap watches that actually say Rolex and use their trademark. Counterfeiting is identity theft. Identity theft is a crime in which someone accesses, typically by getting false credentials, opening new accounts in someone else's name. There are a lot of ways identity theft can happen to you. Hacker, or you may unknowingly provide it on social media. That information may include Social Security number, full name, address and birth date, credit card or bank account numbers, car insurance or medical insurance account numbers. Details that can tip off people to your account recovery questions, such as your mother's maiden name or your hometown. Tax evasion. Tax evasion is the illegal evasion of taxes by individuals, corporations, and trusts. Tax evasion is an activity commonly associated with the informal economy. Tax evasion usually entails taxpayers deliberately misrepresenting the true state of their affairs to the tax authorities to reduce their tax liability. Espionage or spying is the act of obtaining secret or confidential information without the permission of the holder of the information. Spies help agencies uncover secret information. Any individual or spy ring, a cooperating group of spies, in the service of a government, company or independent operation, can commit espionage. The practice is clandestine, as it is by definition unwelcome. In some circumstances, it may be a legal tool of law enforcement. Espionage is a method of intelligence gathering which includes information gathering from undisclosed sources. Now to handle these crimes, we have some laws. These laws are under the IT Act 2000. The Information Technology Act 2000 provides legal recognition to the transaction done via electronic exchange of data. Let's see some basic sections of this act. Whoever knowingly or intentionally conceals or alters any computer source code is subjected to punishment under this section. Ingredients: knowledge or intention, concealment, destruction, alteration. Computer source code required to be kept or maintained by law. Punishment. imprisonment up to 3 years and/or fine up to 2 lakh rupees. 66 Computer-related offenses. If any person, dishonestly or fraudulently, does any act. 66A. Punishment for sending offensive messages through communication service, etc. 66B. Punishment for dishonestly receiving stolen computer resource or communication device. 66C. Punishment for identity theft. Whoever, fraudulently or dishonestly make use of the electronic signature, password or any other unique identification feature of any other person. (66D). Punishment for cheating by personation by using computer resources. Whoever, by means of any communication device or computer resource, cheats by personating. 66C. Punishment for violation of privacy. Whoever intentionally or knowingly captures, publishes or transmits the image of a private area of any person without his or her consent, under circumstances violating the privacy of that person. 66F. Punishment for cyberterrorism. Ingredients: securing unauthorized access or attempting to secure unauthorized access to a protected system. Acts covered by this section: switching computer on, off. Using installed software/hardware. Installing software/hardware. Port scanning. Imprisonment up to 10 years and fine. Cognizable, non-bailable, Court of Sessions.
Let's develop a deeper understanding of the various IT laws governing any cybersecurity-related issues here and enhance our scope of options we have to protect ourselves the next time we interact with the world of the Internet. The first thing that we need to emphasize is that the victim does not give consent to access the data in the form of details of account and transactions, personal photographs and videos, or the login ID and password to favored website, portal, or app. What are the IT cyber laws? Cyber law concerns the law of information technology and the Internet. It's related to legal informatics and governs both information and software, information security, and electronic commerce. These laws and provisions are put out to protect one of the counterfeit frauds wherein a customer is sold a fake product in a place of a genuine one, forgery of documents without consent via online hacking. In some cases, a virus against an organization or government is meant to destabilize a system, and sometimes vandalism, just to destroy the IT equipment and machinery for personal motivations. The IT law then has certain segregated sections under which, if found guilty, one can be penalized and brought to justice.
Cyber attacks are a great threat to the global economy and to our personal data. There are two important aspects that needs to be protected. Information, customers' data, source code, design documents, financial reports, employee records, intellectual property, etc. Information systems, computers, networks, cables. A good cybersecurity approach plays a vital role in minimizing and controlling damage. Also recovering from a cyber breach and its consequences. Let us understand more about what cybersecurity is. Cybersecurity is a set of techniques used to protect systems, networks, and applications. It works against attacks, damage or unauthorized access emerging from Internet. These attacks are usually aimed at accessing, changing, or destroying sensitive information, extorting money from users. The implementation of effective cybersecurity measures is a challenge in today's world. Each of the cyber attacks violates one or more security objectives that are listed below. Confidentiality. Makes sure that data remains private and confidential. It should not be viewed by unauthorized people through any means. Information disclosure is a cyber attack that reads all emails sent to / by the victim by eavesdropping into the communication network, hence, compromising confidentiality. Integrity. Assures that data is protected from accidental or any deliberate modification. Tampering is a cyber attack where attacker modifies an incoming email before it reaches the intended recipient. The receiver would not know that the received message was modified, hence, compromising the integrity. Availability. Ensures timely and reliable access to information and its use. Confidentiality. Denial of service is a cyber attack where the website becomes unavailable for legitimate users, restricting the availability of the website. Disclosure, alteration, and denial, DAD, is an alternate way of referring to the CIA. Authentication, authorization, and accounting, AAA, are three important services that support these security objectives. Authentication. Authentication is verifying an identity. Spoofing is a kind of cyber attack. An attacker impersonates an authentic user of a particular website, compromising the authentication of that website. Authorization. Authorization is determining whether a particular user is allowed to access a particular resource or function. Elevation of privilege is a kind of cyber attack. In it, an attacker accesses the functions which he or she is not allowed to access, hence, compromising authorization. Accounting, non-repudiation. Recording a log of activities of a user in a system is known as auditing. Accounting refers to reviewing the audited log file to check for violations. Hold users answerable to their actions. It includes non-repudiation. Repudiation is a kind of cyber attack. In it, an attacker performs an attack and later deny performing it. Having learned about the objectives and services of cybersecurity, let us get familiar with other commonly referred terms of cybersecurity. Any IT organization comprises of the following: information security. It is about protecting the information that is valuable to the organization. It is about the protection of information in all its forms: electronic, printed, handwritten, verbal, etc. This applies to all aspects of safeguarding or protecting data, in whatever form within the organization. For example, protection of intellectual property, trade secrets, email communications, blood group of employees, etc. from being leaked or tampered. Network security. It is about ensuring the availability of networks and confidentiality and integrity of data flowing within the network. The organization's network is a trusted zone. Traffic entering the Internet, trusted zone; from the Internet, untrusted zone, must be carefully scrutinized. There should be mechanisms to prevent malicious traffic from entering the network. For example, use of a firewall to control all inbound and outbound traffic in the network. Host, operating system, security. It is about protecting the operating system from malware, hacker intrusion, etc. by adapting preventive measure. The basic aim of OS security is to safeguard the assets of a computer, as these assets can be capable of being altered, deleted, or hacked. For example, installation of the antivirus. Application security. It is ensuring that the web applications are developed following the secure design. It involves preventing the security bugs and flaws in any application. For example, building applications that follow secure coding guidelines, etc. Human, people, security. It is about creating and leveraging awareness among employees. Becoming cautious about sharing sensitive information, downloading an attachment from unauthorized sources, and handling organizations' resources per policies. For example, protecting organization from phishing emails by creating awareness among the employees, etc. Apart from the CIA objectives and the AAA services, there are some more terminologies quite frequently used in the cybersecurity space. Asset, vulnerability, exploit, threat, threat agent, risk, attack vectors, control. Let us understand each of these through examples. Asset. The term asset, in general, refers to a valuable possession of an individual or an organization. In cybersecurity space, asset refers to the hardware or software holding confidential data, IT. This needs to be protected from being altered, deleted, or misused by an attacker. Information asset. Information or data that has economic value to it has the following features. It is a part of the organization. It may be highly confidential, top secret. Information about people and procedures. Software or hardware details. Networking elements. For example, confidential emails, identity information, system data, bank transactions, newly developed design scheme of a project, etc. are a few to be named under information assets of an organization. Vulnerability. Vulnerability refers to the state of weakness of being exposed to potential attacks. For example, software bugs, inefficient controls, hardware flaws, human errors. Exploit. Exploit refers to a piece of code that takes advantage of a vulnerability in computer hardware or software to cause unexpected behavior in them. For example, computer virus, malware, or flooding of requests to the server by a bot. Threat. The threat is any potential danger that is associated with the exploitation of a vulnerability. A threat is an undesirable event that can happen to assets. For example, an organization running on Windows operating system was targeted and blocked until a ransom of $300 was credited to hackers to unlock the data. The threat here is the leak of data. Threat agent. A threat agent is a term used to represent an individual or group that can cause a threat. It is important to identify who would want to exploit the assets of a company, capabilities, and how they might utilize those. Intent. For example, the threat agent in the above example is a hacker. Risk. Risk is the probability of causing damages to an asset by a threat agent. The threat agent exploits the asset's vulnerabilities. This eventually can have a substantial impact on the organization. There are many paths by which a threat agent can exploit the vulnerability of a system. The paths taken to exploit could be easy or hard. The harm that is caused by them may lead to any or no consequence. These paths are commonly known as attack vectors. Control is mitigation to protect the asset from risks. For example, some organizations would not have faced the WannaCry ransomware attack if the latest OS patches were updated in time. Note: you can refer to the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, CVSS, for risk calculation. It is a free and open industry standard for assessing the severity of computer system security vulnerabilities. Cyber attacks are a great threat to the
you